Good afternoon, good evening, Stars fans. We're here. As you can see by the two other boxes that are occupied, we've got the Empire Strykers broadcast team, the on-air talent. Everybody's here from their crew, and they're going to join us for today's chat, which, based off of the characters we're about to introduce, could go any which direction. Who knows? So, Jonathan Reimer, thank you for coming. Philly and Panda, you guys are awesome. Thank you guys for being here. We're going to jump right into it. First, really quick reminder for all the Stars fans, we have our Fan Fest on July 29th, which is next Saturday, not tomorrow, but the week after, at 2 p.m. at the Soccer Center. Come down. We've got a bunch of new games. We've got Stars Trivia, which you're not going to want to miss, with a special prize for the winner of Trivia. And the trivia questions will, of course, be about Stars players, Stars history, Stars lore. So you're going to want to be there. Followed by a scrimmage and inter squad with our two teams like last time, which we will let you guys pick. I don't know if you guys knew this, Philly, Panda, and Jonathan, but we actually let the fans come to an inter squad last month, and they got to pick the teams of who played against who. They got to move names around. It was really cool. Worked out really well. My team won. So we're going to do that, and there's going to be a lot of fun on July 29th, 2 p.m. at the Tacoma Soccer Center. Be there. It's going to be a great time. Also, last thing, 6 p.m., we're going to be off the air so you guys can enjoy the women's national team game, USA versus Vietnam. And then at 7:30 tonight, Ballard FC will be playing in the USL League 2 playoff game. At 2 p.m., Ole Town played, and I don't know the score yet. I haven't checked it, but Ballard will be on it at 7:30. So that's the public service announcement that we've come out with. Now, thanks for coming, you guys. Who's going to go first?
Well, just want to say thank you for having us on. We're really excited. It's been quite a while since we've gotten to even get together ourselves and talk about MASL. It seems like forever ago since the season ended.
Yeah, it's really nice to be on this side of a podcast as a guest as opposed to hosting one. So thank you very much for enabling us to speak, but not necessarily plan.
Don't worry, there's been no planning, so you're fine. Doctor.
No, we've been thrown out on an island here. We have no idea what's ahead of us today, just at the whim of the Iberian Brickhouse himself, the legend, Mr. Pereira. It's a pleasure to be on with you, and shouts to all the Stars fans out there. We know we've met a ton of you guys. You've always been super gracious and nice to Philly, Panda, and myself. And, same goes for most fans across this league, any team, rivals for 4 quarters plus. But outside of that, it's been a pleasure getting to know so many of your fans, and it's a pleasure to come on here and speak with you. And hi, Philly. Hi, Panda. I feel like I haven't seen you guys in forever. I miss you.
Yeah, we only work together. It's not like we ever hang out or anything.
So I'm going to tell you a story, right? Mr. Dale Holdner will validate this story. When I played for the Ontario Fury, and then I signed for the Stars, whatever it was, a year or so later, I came down to play at Toyota Arena, which at the time, I don't know if it was called Toyota Arena, but Toyota Arena. And I had a fan come walk up to me and tell me that I was a traitor and that I was this horrible thing about I'd come back to play against the Fury. And so Dale came up to me one time and said, listen, Nick, no matter what happens, this was years ago, if you decide you don't want to play for the Stars anymore, we'll never call you a traitor. So you are right. Enemies for 4 quarters, and then after, everybody is together, and fans and friends. And the one thing I think is really cool about this league is as we get, as it progresses, because we're in year 10 now of the MASL, I think that there's a lot of sort of this happening across the aisle that didn't used to happen. So it's been really cool. And I have to say, from our side, you guys run a super entertaining show. I mean, I think in terms of entertainment value, you guys are up there. You guys are up there as one of the best, if not the best crew, in terms of your on-field, your commentary. I actually have a bet with somebody going. They said, "Oh, you're going to have them on," and they said, "We have to make it a drinking game. How could we make it a drinking game?" I said, "Well, here's what we're going to do. Every time that they call somebody by a nickname, you've got to drink." So
we already got one.
Iberian Brickhouse has been dropped, so we're one shot in, and we're only 4 minutes into the show, so someone's already drinking somewhere. I really do think you guys do a great job of bringing entertainment to it. So maybe talk about how you came into it, how you started, and how it's kind of gone.
So, and I appreciate you saying that. I mean, anytime we get on the air, our goal is always to inform, educate, and entertain. You often watching the beautiful game, you hear very dry British English commentary, And I wanted to kind of not go down that route. We try very hard not to use their idioms and their slang, and we try to do our own thing, keep it entertaining. I mean, I've always been influenced by people like Dick Vitale. Like I love somebody who speaks passionately about something they love, and that's why how I like to come across. So thank you for saying that. As far as how we came into the fold, it really starts out with LAFC. So when their inaugural season started in 2018, we very much got involved. I run an LAFC podcast, as does the doctor. So now somebody else has to take a shot. And we had a player by the name of Adrian Perez who was on the team. And Adrian Perez, as you know, was linked to the Ontario Fury. Fast forward a little bit, then they had that announcement of the game between San Diego and Ontario, where they were putting it up as Jermaine Jones versus Landon Donovan. So you kept hearing about indoor. We kept hearing about the Ontario Fury. And then I went to a game sometime in December, I think 2019-ish. It was Panda, myself, and a couple of my other friends. And it was the first time we actually bared witness to the MASL. The minute I saw the turf at Toyota Arena, I instantly fell in love. We were sitting right there, the proximity to the field, the conversations we were having with the players, the game, the speed, the Frank Tayu doing his thing. Jermaine Jones was there. I fell in love with the game, like passionately. And I just wanted to have more content out of it. And during 2020, I reached out to the Fury front office and asked who was doing their podcast. And they said nobody. And I said, I'd be willing to volunteer to do it just because I enjoy the heck out of this game. And I think it's a beautiful game, a beautiful product. And I want to be involved in it. I wouldn't have guessed that 6 weeks into Stryking Fury that they would have asked us to be part of the broadcast team. That was never really the goal or the intention, although in the back of my mind, there was some kind of mastermind plot to eventually get there. But 6 weeks into it, we got presented with the opportunity to be part of the broadcast. And, well, I don't turn down opportunities. It's always been a dream of mine to do this. And yeah, here we are.
How many years later? 4 years later, and what, over 100 indoor games now, right?
Yeah, probably over 100 indoor games. I mean, we had the benefit of doing games in Toyota Arena. We've had the benefit of going down to Monterrey and Chihuahua, which I absolutely love doing. And hopefully we get to travel a little more this season. Guadalajara being another destination. I know the doctor, another shot for somebody, knows quite a bit about tequila. So playing the tequileros would be a cool thing. And then running out to the pastures and drinking some of, Jalisco and tequila's finest.
Amen to that. Let's go. Vamos, Guadalajara. I can't wait for them to show up in the league this year. As many of you know, I work in the adult beverage industry. I also work for a tequila company. So I'm excited just to head back to a place that I dearly love in Guadalajara and Tequila Mexico. And and much like Philly, I came into this through the outdoor world, through LAFC. Philly and I had met through the LAFC pod fam because we each run podcasts for LAFC. And so we sort of knew each other through that. He started Stryking Fury podcast, and I had reached out to him because I was really fascinated with the content of the first couple episodes, wanted to learn more about it. Next thing you know, he was calling me with an offer to come be in the booth with him and be his play-by-play guy. And, as a Southern California native, someone who grew up idolizing the likes of the Chick Hearns, the Bob Millers, and of course the Vin Scullys of the world. I mean, it's a childhood dream. Every time I was riding home from a game in the backseat of the car, calling the play-by-play to my family, this comes full circle, and now I get a chance to pursue it and enter our 4th season of doing this. About to call some more international games for the second time, doing USA versus Mexico. It's a huge event coming up September 10th at Toyota Arena, which we're super excited about, to get an all-star MASL team together and have north of the border go against south of the border again. These kind of bucket list items have been such a dream to be able to be a part of.
Well, you guys are like I said, entertainment, no question. What do you guys call blue cards again?
Smurfs.
Shot.
They're small and blue. I mean, come on, it's a no-brainer. And then the sin box becomes Smurf Village. The ref becomes Gargamel. Like it's so organically beautiful.
I think that whoever that the person that I had this bet with is at this point is like 7 in and probably is gonna have to start drinking water because it's gonna be a tough one for them.
Maybe just change it to sips.
Yeah, a little sip.
Now keep drinking that tequila. Eventually, when he goes to the bathroom, that person could be spitting out agave as he urinates.
no, please.
Perfect. Perfect.
Gross.
So here's what we're gonna do. Okay, we're gonna talk a little bit about, and I'm gonna try and keep it to the West Coast. Again, we don't know what's gonna happen this year in the MSL. Everything I've heard is that we're probably gonna go away with divisions, and it's probably gonna be more of a one table. But since it's unofficial yet, and I don't know, let's talk about the West, and all of our conversations will be centered around then. Because I don't know if you guys do your research on the East, and I don't want to embarrass you on live TV or live
you do.
podcast
Come
or whatever it is.
on.
I don't want to ask you about players you might not know about, or I don't want to get into there. So we're going to go in the West, and we're going to stay as friendly to Tacoma and Empire as we can. So I have questions about players, and I'm going to leave out players from Tacoma and Empire so that there's no favoritism, and so that you don't get in trouble comparing one with the other, and we kind of go away from all the conflict. Okay, does that sound fair?
It's fair.
Sure.
Okay, so we're going to play a game. Okay, it's called Start, Bench, Sell.
Ooh.
So I'm going to give you 3 players. You got to tell me which one starts, which one gets sold, and which one you've got on the bench still on your team but is not starting. Okay?
Okay.
And this is why I'm not doing it with Empire players,
Thank you.
Tacoma players, so that you don't have to say something at some point that gets you in trouble.
It's very fair.
That's awfully kind of you,
Fair.
Nick. Thank you.
Ricardo Carvalho says that, hi, Nick, you're my idol. Ricky, no problem. Ricky needs private lessons, private soccer lessons. Ricky, we'll talk another time. I'm on a podcast right now. We'll talk another time. Thank you.
This isn't a spoiler. He's not going to the Pacific Northwest, is he? Is that why he's
No.
on?
He does know these aren't your DMs, right?
Yeah, he's
No,
not sliding
yeah,
into your DM.
Yeah. No, there's only so much. There's only room enough for one ego in Washington, and it's not his. Sorry. We've got enough of that problem.
Shots fired.
Ooh, wow.
So we're going to go by positions, okay? We're going to start with our goalkeepers. Remember, this is West Coast, no Empire, no Tacoma, okay?
Okay.
You've got Boris Pardo, Valdovinos, and Pollo from Mesquite, West Coast. You've got to start one, you've got to sell one, and you've got to bench one. Bench one means they get to stay, but they're not your number one guy.
Done.
Okay,
Got
so
it.
you can go one at a time. Who wants to go first?
Ladies
No,
first.
no.
Ladies first.
No. You go.
No?
Yes, you go.
Just this is noted right here that I'm kind and courteous, and I allow my
Yeah.
wife the benefit of the
Noted.
doubt. It's showing. I start Pardo.
Okay, Pardo gets the start for you. I'm gonna annotate this later so that I've got it written down in case there's any conflicts later.
Keeping receipts.
That's right.
Ooh, we already
Pardo
disagree,
starts.
Philly.
Okay, Valdovinos and Pollo. One of the two has to get sold, but one gets to stay and sit quietly on the bench and watch.
Okay. Is it still okay? So I'm going my 3 then. That's how
You're
it works.
gonna go your 3.
All right.
the way
Yeah.
through.
Simple. Okay. So I start Pardo.
Yeah.
I bench Valdovinos.
Okay.
I sell Pollo.
Okay. Got it. Pollo, if you're listening, they're selling you.
Wow.
Money.
Man, I want to be the bad guy.
Okay, Panda,
Wait.
you're up.
Yeah. I mean, I was only gonna switch too. I was gonna start Valdovinos, bench Pardo, and sell Pollo. So
Wow,
Okay.
you're both selling Pollo. My goodness,
Sorry.
I
There's
couldn't have
upside
disagreed.
value there, brother.
right, we might get a lot of money.
I'm starting Pollo. I'm building a team around Pollo, young and amazing. I mean, those are the kind of people you want on your team. I want a Berna Balbinos being on my bench, being able to help coach this kid up, help him out. And whenever he subs in, you got world class coming in. And I'm selling Pardo because I want a nice big return for it. So that's the route I'm going.
Okay,
Mm.
we got it. Perfect. We got our goalkeeper sorted. There's an old adage in indoor soccer: if you've got a goalie and a target, you're gonna be okay. And everything in between, you try to piece it together. So we've got our goalkeepers sorted. Okay, we're gonna go defenders now. All of these defenders are again, no Tacoma, no Empire. Okay, we've got Escalante. Okay, Chihuahua captain.
Yep.
Yep.
IOV, Monterey Flash. Okay, and then you've got Mitchell Cardenas from San Diego. You got to start one, bench one, sell one.
All right. Am I going first?
It's up to you.
Ladies first this time around?
I can go first.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah. So I would start Escalante.
Okay.
I think he's a very powerful defender, and he scores a lot of goals for them as well. So
Yeah.
he's kind of a double threat in that sense. And then probably bench Cardenas and then Selvi. And I don't have much behind my reasoning for that, but just going with my gut reaction, I suppose.
Okay.
All
Next.
right.
Next.
I start Escalante without a doubt.
Okay.
I think he's a fabulous player. He's just a fun guy to watch. He's great on both sides of the ball, and that's who I would build my back line around. As far as the other players are concerned,
IOV's played in a World Cup for Ecuador.
he's also my age, Nick.
Yeah, he is.
Therein lies my problem. So if I wanted to sell him, how much value would I get? I might keep him just to like have some veteran leadership coming off of the bench and to obviously like mentor some of the younger defenders. And then I would sell Cardenas because there's value there.
You guys are like putting your GM hats on. I was just gonna go straight up and like who you like to watch, but this is great. We got a whole nother layer to this thing.
Cerebral assassins, my friend.
There you go.
I kind of have to agree with Philly on all counts for this one.
Brilliant.
I want Flaquito on my team. I want leadership. That is a trait in a player that I value very highly, right? Not only is he a great two-way player, fantastic offensively, killer defensively, but he captained a team that's the current champion. I mean, if you want to go out and get one guy to build a team around right now, the captain of the current champions is a really good place to start. I always on the bench for the senior leadership, and because I think that's a great role for him right now, given he's all the way up there at Philly age, which is pushing it. And then I'm selling high as well too to get the biggest return. I feel like I've sold 2 Sockers players in a row that might get me some heat, but I mean, it doesn't change anything actually.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that the Empire Strykers people were going to be like super high on the Sockers people anyway, but that's a debate for a whole nother podcast that we don't need to get into right now.
Note for everyone out there, I benched them, so I did keep them. So
Yeah,
I don't know if that gives me any value here.
Yeah,
and you're wearing blue.
Well, for this, come on.
For the women's national team.
That's right. Exactly.
Okay, let's go into midfield. Okay, I think the hardest one is going to be targets, but we'll go midfield. Okay, we've got Leo from San Diego. Okay, you've got Enrique Cañez from Chihuahua, Quique Cañez, and then you've got La Pantera Rosa, Castillo with the pink mohawk from Monterrey. So you've got those 3 guys. You got to pick. You got to start one. You know the whole thing.
Oh,
ladies first.
No, I went first last time.
Doctor, you could start this one since we're all taking turns here.
This is a tough one.
All right, give them to me one more time.
It's so tough. He forgot who it was.
Quique Cañez, Enrique Cañez from Chihuahua. Genaro Castillo, La Pantera Rosa, the pink-haired guy who's the left-footed guy. He's very, very good. And Leo from San Diego.
Leo's
Leo
gonna be
Gibson. Leo.
De Oliveira on the bench. I'm gonna start Quique Cañez, and Red Serpent's got to be sold. I'm sorry. I love all 3 players. Those are all 3 great players.
Yeah. I did a podcast after the season with one of the MASL Spanish speaking channels, and I actually ranted about how good the players in Mexico are, and how little media coverage they get related to their level, right? Like the level of play versus how much we talk about them. But anyway, that's another thing. Philly, Panda, same as the doctor.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that's probably what I would have said. I mean, someone like Leo on the bench. I mean, he's on the list of the top assist leaders in the league. So definitely a lot of knowledge coming from there. And then someone like Cañez. I mean, again, coming from a championship team. I think I would build the team around that. And then, I agree with you, Jonathan. So good job.
Changing anything, Philly? Any
made
difference?
that real easy.
I'm starting the pass master. I'm starting Leo de Oliveira. Once we get to target forwards, we're going to need somebody to distribute the ball, and that guy distributes it better than most players within the midfield, in the indoor. I'm starting Leo. And now that I think about it, I'm starting 2 San Diego Sockers. What does that say about me? As far as who I bench, La Pantera Rosa, I'm keeping him, and I am selling Quique Cañez.
Okay.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
gonna make sure Mr. Burham doesn't see this interview of you starting all the Sockers players. You're gonna be in trouble.
Yeah, he's gonna do a Bart. He's gonna do a Homer Simpson Bart thing where he's choking me. Why you little?
Why you little?
Okay, targets. Here comes the tough one. Oh, I don't know. Maybe it's not tough. Maybe it's easy. But
As long as I don't have to start Nick Pereira, I'm good.
no, I told you, present company excluded. Hugo Puentes,
La
from
Roca.
Chihuahua, Tavoy Morgan, and I threw in a curveball here, but Blas Perez from Dallas.
All right, I'm ready. I got it.
Go.
I got you.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm starting La Roca, Hugo Puentes. I
Okay.
just think that man has a hammer for a foot. I love the precision he gets at the power he is able to execute his shots. I mean, most players have one of those two. They're either incredibly accurate or incredibly forceful in their shot, and you have no idea where it's going. But to get both of those in one person, Tavoy's probably got the most value, so I would sell him on. So that's probably.
And so
where
Blas Perez stays on the bench.
Again, veteran leadership on the bench. Can't go wrong with that.
Okay. Who's next?
Blas Perez, yet another individual who's my age. And I don't want to use the same argument.
He scores goals. He scores.
He does when he's there. Yeah, absolutely. Now I'm gonna. Jesus, this is. I feel really weird saying this, but I'm starting Tavoy Morgan. I'm starting yet another soccer. For all the soccer fans that hate on me, just know that I give you all a lot of love outside. Yeah, I would start Tavoy. I keep La Roca on there for that 1-2 punch. I sell Blas Perez and get whatever I can for him. He'll put cheeks in seats, no doubt, which would create some upside on the selling capabilities.
Philly, you left the instrument for your band at my house. Sorry.
Well, doctor.
Wow.
This is for you.
Straight to red, no yellow.
No, there's no warnings. You will not be warned. You mess with Philly, you're out.
Get out of here. Get out of here. I actually would agree with Jonathan, honestly.
We're married.
No.
Why would you agree with me?
I don't know how to do that. I mean, it's not even in my DNA at this point anymore in life to do that. But yeah, no, I would agree with you, Jonathan. I mean, for all the same reasons that you said. And I don't know. I'm just not, I guess, as on the Strykers bandwagon as this guy is over here. I don't know.
Well, we've got our lineups, you guys. You got the lineups. I tried to make them hard. I don't know if they were hard or not, but I think that it's always difficult when you put together these questions. But I think it's an interesting instrument or as interesting experiment to go through and look at lineups and see who you'd like. Matt Huber wants to know why Utica is going to win the Ron Newman Cup. I don't know, Matt. It seems like they've got something cooking there that you guys just sell out every single game. But there's something about those overtime games that just is unnerving. There's a lot of overtime games, and those games are always kind of tricky. You never know how those are going to go. Yeah, I mean, so again, now I'm going to ask you guys a separate question. Thanks for being fun and playing along with it. I'm going to ask you a separate question.
Not like we had a choice.
Well, yeah, it's true. You're here now. You're here until
Jeez.
6. You're here till 6. You're not going anywhere, so you're playing.
Fair.
Okay, next game, you get to pick one player from the MASL, present company excluded, and it can be Tacoma players. Just don't put me in the mix. You get to pick one player of the MASL that jumps onto Empire, and anybody anywhere gets to go play on your team. So you get to go pick them. Go.
You take out the league MVP from our options. That's kind of not fair. That's already cutting the head off. Panda, you could go first.
Well,
Chad
Philly,
Vandergriff.
you've already picked all the Soccer's players. So who from San Diego comes on?
Ouch!
Wow. Burned you.
Anybody?
I want Chad Vandergriff. We need someone like him on our team. We need that kind of defense, and he's just a really cool guy. He's really fun to hang out with, and would have loved to have seen him come over to Empire, but that did not happen, unfortunately.
Stayed close to home in KC.
Yeah,
makes sense. All right, if I could pick anybody that I would want, and it's not going to be a soccer. Thank you very much. I take the MASL final MVP, Pareja Jorge Rios, on my team.
Okay.
I am.
Go ahead, Doctor.
Oh, I would say I'm also going to go with Chihuahua Savage. I'm going to go with the homie Adrian Miller. I want that strong defensive presence. Also got a hammer of a shot, but I want, if I'm building a team, I'm going to build from defense first. I think that's, I mean, I agree. Look, you got to have a great goalkeeper. You got to have a great forward. But I think a lot of people undervalue defense in this league. And I like Adrian Miller.
Great picks, all of them. And I think, like I said earlier, that there's a lot of players that play south of the border that are so different and so effective. And just because of the way that we kind of run media in MASL, and because it's a lot of it's a stat-based sport, a lot of players get overlooked who are so good. Jesus Solorio, saludos desde Monterrey. Saludos, Jesus. Yeah, I think if there was one player my question, I had Chris Toth on the podcast 2 weeks ago, I think, and I told him, give me a player that is like an undervalued player in the league that you think is really good that nobody talks about, and he came out with Quique Cañez from Chihuahua, who I honestly think, if you watch him play, is up there and could be one of the best players in the league. But his points per game is like up and down, right? Like he'll have a big game, then he'll kind of go quiet, and big game, go quiet. And so he's never in that convo. But I think in terms of watching the games and what he's able to do, he's really different. And he's somebody who really hurts teams. And you don't know it sometimes until you play against them. But I thought that was a good one.
You could say he's up and down, but when it comes to big games, I mean, he's one of those players that you want in there if it's going to be a massive event. Because when it comes to star performances, I mean, Quique Cañez shows up on the big stage in big moments.
Doctor, I'm a little confused. Why are you here? I gave you one of these. You're still here. You're still here. We know all about Quique Cañez.
Yeah.
He's been everybody in Chihuahua has been a thorn in the side of the Empire Strykers and the former Ontario Fury. I mean, anytime we go down there, they annihilate us. And he's a big reason as to why we can't seem to come up with a W in Corner Sports Arena.
Well, I went down there and got, you say annihilated? I actually got annihilated. I think that was 2 years ago. And I want to say we lost 21-9 or something.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, it was one of those games that was like, that you'll never forget. I don't know how many it ended up being, but it was something like every time you turned around, there was a goal. So it was, that was annihilated. There's a lot of good players down there. And I think that, and there's a lot of good players. And I think that when you guys played when Empire played against Chihuahua, there was a couple big time battles in there that could have gone either way. But that Chihuahua, they're hard to beat. I mean, it's hard to beat them anywhere, but in Mexico, I think it's virtually impossible.
Oh, yeah. They fill up Corner Sports Arena splendidly. And even though it's 1,200 people, I mean, it is loud and ruckus in there. And in that little perch high in the clouds where you have to climb a ladder that would make OSHA, sweat. I mean, you could feel the vibrations within the rafters of Corner Sports Arena. I absolutely love going there. I know people say what they say about the arena from an aesthetic by watching it, but being there, I really enjoy the atmosphere there. It's one of the liveliest places that I could say I've ever been in.
Yeah, no, Philly and I are sitting up there in our broadcast booth, and our cup of water is doing the little Jurassic Park ripples like every 3 seconds with "Vamos Savage." Like that place just, I mean, from the singing, the chanting, the screaming, the booing, everything. It's just level 11 the whole time. I mean, you walk out of there, your ears are just ringing. Your mind is numb from that experience. I mean, when it comes to a game day experience, it's hard to, what they pull off there in Corner Sports Arena is really epic.
Yeah.
We were there at halftime, and they do a karaoke at halftime with kids usually. Did you guys see that one?
I don't know if we had karaoke. I know we've had a couple weird obstacle course things where the cheerleaders will run an obstacle course and then they'll let the kids run the obstacle course. We've definitely seen that a few times. They had a whole mariachi band come out and play one time.
We had a little girl that sang, I don't even know what it's called, but Titi me preguntó si tiene muchas novias.
That bunny.
Muchas novias. That one.
Muy bien.
She was like, I don't know, 8, maybe 9, and she killed it. And we were supposed to be warming up at halftime, and we were clapping her. I got my daughter and my wife over here dancing in the mirror, doing the dumbest thing ever, right there. And anyway, she was singing and she was killing it. We were supposed to be warming up, and I walked over and was like clapping her. It was awesome. She was really good.
It's funny hearing an 8-year-old sing that song and knowing kind of what that song means.
That was what I was like, wow, she's really singing it. But okay, here we go.
It's infectious what they create there. I mean, even as an away supporter, as we are, I mean, we try and be fairly middle ground on our broadcast, but when you're in that arena, it's hard not to get swept up in everything that's going on. I mean, I remember this is the shirt I won from the T-shirt cannon right here, hanging up behind me. It's kind of hard to read. That says "Territory, Savage Territory" on it. I mean, it's electric. There's nothing else to say about it. I mean, what they do as far as their in-game activation of the fans is killer.
Yeah. Well, actually, you know what? You bring up a really good point there, because one of my notes right here is about commentator and on-field announcer neutrality, and talking about that. And is that something you guys try to do? Is it something you don't try to do? I'll be honest, when we watch the games back, it seems like you guys get pretty excited when we score. So I think that's something that you guys obviously make a decision to not be like, and Tacoma scores. Because there are teams that do that. There are teams where they score.
No, they're not in the league this year. They're not in the league this. Oh,
well, there are teams who still. There are teams who still do something like that. But I think that commentator in particular doesn't get too excited about many things anyway, so it's not that bad. But talk about that. I mean, do you feel like there's other commentators in the league that are very partisan and that are not neutral? How do you feel like that? I mean, is there a conscious decision there that people take or don't take, or does it just happen? Talk through that.
I mean, I'll speak on behalf of myself and our gang. If there's a great goal, there's a great goal. It doesn't matter who scores it. I'm going to get excited one way or another. The only thing I'll do differently, let's say you scored a bike against us. I won't turn around and yell, "Doctor, doctor, give us the news." That's reserved for our boys. But I will turn around and say, "Doctor, walk us through." That's the difference that I will do. But I mean, I'm excited genuinely. Anytime I see something incredible, I think it's only fair, because you never know what's going to land on whatever highlight clip. And if you do something incredible and I'm Droopy D and I'm like, "Goal by Nick Pereira," it's insulting to you and what you've accomplished. I think one of the goal calls that I'm known for was a goal that the Tropics scored. I utilized some Looney Tunes reference, what I mentioned, like my jaw dropped down and hit my foot or something like that. My ankles, that's what it was. But I mean, it was such a great goal. You all deserve it because y'all play the game at such a high level. So if you do something phenomenal, it's got to be recognized with enthusiasm and excitement.
And one thing I like to kind of remember, I mean, I don't have as much in-game commentary as they do, but just when introducing and talking about teams, I think it's so important to give the away team a lot of respect, because most of the fans tuning in to a broadcast and watching a game are the away team fans. They're the ones watching it, and nobody wants to sit there and just watch a game that is completely one-sided. It's not fun. You I don't know. It starts to get under your skin. I mean, I've watched games where our teams were there, and when they don't give the accolades or highlight the things that deserve to be highlighted in certain ways, I'm not saying say they're the best thing ever since sliced bread, but there are certain things that need to be said and make it entertaining. And I think keeping it as neutral as you can is really what does kind of keep it watchable at the end of the day.
First and foremost, the most important thing to do on a broadcast is to respect the game. Right. And if you respect the league, you respect the game, then you have to respect the players for both sides. You have to celebrate the game as it unfolds in front of you. And sometimes it's as easy as celebrating a beautiful goal. Sometimes it's hard when you have your own player that comes out there and does something boneheaded. And you have to be honest and say, our own team did something boneheaded there. And, maybe it's a flop, maybe it's a bad foul, maybe it's a poor choice. So it's a two-way street. It's not only celebrating what both teams do positively, but critiquing what both teams do negatively. That, I think, is much harder for a broadcaster to make that decision. But for every broadcaster across this league, those are conscious decisions. I mean, before the game whether or not you're going to celebrate an away goal or not. And the broadcasters that choose to give it a more tinted view of the game are certainly doing so with intent. And that's their call and their franchise's decision to have a broadcast that runs that way or not. But for Philly and I, it's always been about the game first, the players first. And obviously, we're rooting for our team. But again, these players, if they do something amazing, they deserve the credit. And if they do something, that's a not top 10 worthy thing, it needs to get discussed as well too. And to our credit, I think we try and walk a good line with it. Especially, there are times throughout the season when our own players have come to us and said, hey, you got to stop being so nice to the guys on the other team during the broadcast. Do it more like so-and-so does it, where all you do is talk about us the whole time. I mean, we've legit had those conversations with our own players. And we've had fans from the opposing team call us homers and say we're not calling it down the middle. So I figure if both sides are a little frustrated, then we've probably hit the middle ground, which does make some of those post-game conversations with the players a little awkward. But at the end of the day, we have a job to do, and the job is to add color, add description, add some life to what you see unfolding in front of you. And you have to be honest with that, or you're not doing the job.
I think the sport of indoor soccer has so many debatable moments, right? Like the speed of play leads to so many. Was it a blue? Is it a shootout? Was it a foul? Is it embellishment? Were there too many guys on the field? There's like so many things to talk about that I think if you well, first off, I don't envy your jobs having to describe those things and having to put your name on which side of the fence it falls on. But I can remember firmly watching broadcasts from every team in the league and thinking they're going to be tainted on a special play, a specific player, a moment. And I'll use San Diego because I happen to know Craig and I've known Elston for a really long time. But actually this last year, there was a moment where a Sockers player did something that he wasn't supposed to do, a naughty one. And I think I remember Craig calling it out and being like, he got that one wrong. He shouldn't have done that. That was a mistake. And he shouldn't do that. And I remember thinking to myself, good on you. Good on you, because I think Craig in the past has at times, and I would tell him if he was on the show, been overly pro Sockers. And so to see that they would step on, put his foot firmly on the line and say, I don't think that was correct, I think was really good. But I think that if I can give my personal opinion about commentating around the league, I think the hardest part for players is you guys are very good at this, and Craig is really good at this. And I think our broadcast team in Tacoma are excellent at this too, is doing homework on the opposition and actually knowing who's playing. Because I find that there's stadiums that we play in where they don't know who we are. And I don't need them to know what my mom's name is, but I think that they need to at least be able to say who did what and give some color about what the players are. I think that's a personal pet peeve of mine. I don't know if you guys see it as much as I do, but that's something I get really upset about. What's that? Is that a notebook with all the notes?
These are my notes from 3 seasons of calling indoor games. 3 years of Tacoma, 3 years of San Diego, 2 years of Chihuahua. Like, this is a stack of notes. This is homework. As you say, it's like what drove me crazy during the TST tournament, for example. There are about 70 of you in there from MASL, right? Yeah, that's one game. That's one
team, stats, numbers, names,
That's
history,
awesome.
everything.
Yeah. I mean, where you went to college, what significant moments. Like when I was watching the TST, there were about 70 of you from the MASL competing in that tournament. And when I couldn't get a backstory on any one of you, I'm going to use an F-bomb here. It fucking drove me nuts. Absolutely drove me crazy. I'm sitting there screaming at Panda, we need to draft a letter and tell TST why they need to hire us now. Like, that's, to me, like, it's just a matter of
there was
respect.
Massel. There was, I think there was a goal that one of us scored where they said the Massel player.
Yeah, they did say Massel
a couple times. And I remember being like, and then I think they fixed it. Somebody must have corrected them and they fixed it later. But that's a tough one. I mean, there's a couple of times where players will get called the wrong name or it'll be the wrong thing.
Like Chris?
Yeah. Well, Toth. I've heard Toth for the last 15 years. They call him Toth. But that's a tough one for me. And that's one that obviously you guys live day to day. But as a player, when you go back and watch it, and we watch tape to like break things down, but it's always a kind of embarrassing moment when it's like either the wrong player being called, which, by the way, I don't know if you caught this, but in the MASL All-Star game the other day, they handed – did you see that Bukayo Saka was the game MVP and they actually gave it to Flo Balogun? I mean, I don't know if you saw that. Crazy.
Julian Sakovic was part of that.
It was.
I mean, speaking of that game –
they messed up in the van. They had the
I-
wrong
I-
feed to the wrong thing.
That's true. They did have the wrong feed there because
Yeah.
she was talking about Saka, and they went to a clip of her talking to Balogun.
Got it.
So Sakovic is great. She does her homework. It was more the production team that effed that up.
Well, whatever it was, it's not a good look, right? It's
No.
just, it's one of those moments. It's not a good look.
I mean,
No, it-
Twellman kept getting Arsenal players' names wrong on the broadcast. Couldn't even pronounce their names. I mean, this is Taylor Twellman, who's calling, the biggest games in the United States. I mean, who doesn't know how to say Martin Odegaard's name or Gabriel Jesus? I mean, it's just like little things like that are
Well, listen,
infuriating.
if you want, you can hand me over your CVs. I'll pass them to US Soccer, get you guys some interviews. Is that good?
Absolutely.
We'd love to see
yeah.
that. I will
We had
say
Randy-
the MASL does make it a little more challenging to do our homework. A lot of times we have to put a lot more effort into finding out information about players than I wish the league would help all the broadcasters out and just have a standard of information that's provided. Some teams do a fantastic job with this with their media guides and pronunciation guides, but I've even seen players' names wrong in a media pronunciation guide where it says this is how you pronounce a player's name, and then it turns out that was wrong, or no one ever just went and asked the player themselves. And so I mean, I do think that we could kind of raise the tide a little bit across the league by having some better media guides that go out there that people like us could use, so Philly and I aren't Facebook stalking and going down
Oh my
YouTube
God. What have
rabbit
you done
holes and
before?
finding somebody's wife on Instagram and messaging them because we can't get a hold of somebody, or
Oh,
hitting
yeah.
up front offices and stuff. I mean, we have to do all of that in order to
We
get
had-
ready for a game.
We had Randy on, I think it was 2 weeks ago as well, or 2-3 weeks ago from ours, Randy McNair, who does the perfect public service announcement from the top on all the players and the announcements. And he said the same thing. He says that sometimes they get a scribble scrabble note with everyone's names on them. And so you don't even know who's playing and who's starting because you can barely read the handwriting on the notes. And if you happen to be able to read the handwriting, sometimes it's a player that they've signed the day before, and so it hasn't gone out in the media guide. You don't know who they are. You've never heard of them, and you just happen to see it on a piece of paper. So, again, I don't envy the position, but it does sound like the league throws a couple curveballs at you guys.
They've gotten a lot better. I mean, I remember when Chihuahua was in year one, I did exactly what Jonathan said. I'm Facebooking everyone and their mother to acquire as much information as I could. And a lot of the players back when we played Chihuahua in Ontario, they were a lot of the guys from that were on the
Sonora.
M2 side, on the M2
Oh.
side. And so it was even harder to dig up information regarding them. But I mean, it was trial by fire. Look, we could say what we want. MASL's certainly gotten better. You want to talk about tough? Panda and I spent 2 years calling games in the WPSL. That is literal Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, whatever we can find. MASL is a godsend compared to what we've had to deal with in the WPSL.
They handed us the lineups. Well, no, wait, they didn't even give us numbers for one of the games for the girls. So, yeah, so that was awful. But, like you said, at the end of the day, I mean, knowing the players and their names is literally the least amount of work that everybody should be able to do. And, these guys go above and beyond. I mean, I've seen him up till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, just getting ready for a game, doing his notes. So he puts in so much work. And, these players do. They deserve to have their stories told. They deserve to be respected. And like I said, to at least have their names right. I mean, that's the least we can do, right?
So we're going to go find Mike Ramos's bike, because you said that if it's a bike, you wouldn't say one thing, but you might say the other. We're going to go find Mike Ramos's bike at Toyota Arena against Empire Strykers last year. And we'll
I
check
thought
out
we
the
weren't
ball.
doing this.
No, I'm gonna do it right now, but I'll go look at it later, and we'll decide whether you paid the bike credit or not.
Okay.
I think I had a Queen reference. I think that was the game I had the call. Was it not, Philly? I think
If it
that
was the
our
final
last
game of the
season.
season, you had
Yeah.
the call. I did the color commentary for that one.
I think I was so astonished by what happened that it might have been a delayed, and then I think I made a Queen ride my bicycle reference. So
Oh, that's
I
possible.
hope that's paying it homage. I consider Freddie Mercury comparisons pretty high credit.
I think acknowledging it in any sense like that is actually a league above what some people do. I mean, I've walked into the kitchen before and grabbed a drink and came back. I was like, oh, we scored, and because I didn't know, and I'm like, at least give some like something, say something, be even mad about it. I don't know, but yeah, I agree.
Okay, well, a couple more games. We've got one more that's easy and one more that's a bit fun. And it's for that person that said that they were going to try to figure out They would take a shot every time there was a nickname. So, first game, unsung hero in the league. Unsung hero, somebody that you think is like, or let's go on Empire. Let's go on Empire. This time we can do it. An unsung hero that you think is like a big time player on the franchise and maybe doesn't get as much love as you'd like.
Let's see.
Pacheco. I'm going to go with Pacheco. Every single year, he's improved upon his numbers. I mean, he went from not really being any kind of a focus to all of a sudden really being a part of the attack. And the kid gets better and better and better every season. Do I put him on the pedestal with Frank and Justin? No, but that kid's still young and he continues to improve and he impresses me every single season. I'm going to go with Pacheco.
Sweet pea? Don't you mean sweet pea? Let's have them take a drink at least. Come on now.
There you go. Sweet pea in the house.
Sweet pea. Matt, I got to agree with you, Clayson. That's a great call. Having a former Golden Gloves and goalkeeper of the year riding the pine for you. Hey, it's another nickname, right? I'm just trying to keep them going. I don't want people sobering up, 45 minutes here or so into the show.
Friday night at 5 p.m.
We got to make sure that support is appropriate for the U.S. women's national team, which means people need to be, socially adjusted by the time the show ends here. I'm going to go with Alan Perez, featured in 21 games for the Strikers last season. A player that did not get on the goal sheet a lot, but was able to play valuable minutes. Kept the scoring to a minimum when he was out there, gave some rest to the Stars so that they could get back out. But a guy like that's going to go out and give you those kind of workman minutes is never going to be highly touted as the guys who are finding their way onto the score sheet night in and night out. But you need players like that to build a squad around. So Alan Perez for me.
That's exactly what I was going to say, Jonathan. Why'd you steal my answer? You know who I'm going to say, and this is mainly because I think this is going to be a big year for him, especially with the departure of Toth. I'm hoping we see a lot more of Brian Orozco. He's a fantastic keeper for the M2 side. He did get to see some minutes last season with the first team, and he's just a hard worker, just a really pleasant guy. And I don't know, I'm excited to see a little more of him because he really impressed me whenever he was in goal the one time we saw him.
Yeah, good choice. I mean, he represents Guatemala on the international side. He was on Comunicaciones U17. Yeah, he's got a lot of star potential and upside to him as well. That's the best one. Way to go.
She gave you a nudge under the table to go find your notes about Comunicaciones, right? Hey, listen, I'm going to say Brian Orozco. Get your notes out.
He pulled out his
pull something. Yeah. Let me just go quickly look it over here. U17 Comunicaciones.
It's funny you think
my Comunicaciones scarf right there.
Oh, there you go.
It's funny you think it's organized enough for him to be able to find anything quickly. By the way,
I was gonna say,
or legible, so that once it's written, anyone could ever go back and read it. Because if you've ever seen Philly's handwriting, he literally looks like a 3-year-old learning Egyptian hieroglyphs.
It looks like he wrote it with his feet.
Whatever. I can read my notes. That's all that matters. Y'all do your own homework.
He doesn't want us to use it.
It's better. Nobody but you can read your notes. Nobody's intellectual property is protected.
Exactly.
I think I was showing it to someone who was in the booth one time, and they were like, "Oh, does he have some kind of code he writes this in? Is this shorthand?" And I was like, "No, that's English. That's what that's written in." They couldn't even tell what language it was written in by looking at his notes, which is perfect.
This is the first I'm hearing of this. Ouch.
He writes in cipher code.
Alex Saunders is throwing in Hugo Magana up there as somebody else who could have gotten on and off the field presence.
Agreed.
Speaking of great goalkeepers, shout out to Alex. We love you, buddy.
Yeah.
Cheers, mate.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, Aussie.
Okay, we got the last game. Nothing crazy. We're gonna go nicknames. Okay, you each have to hit a nickname, and it doesn't even need to be players. It can be, like you said, the Smurf, and whoever messes up, whoever doesn't, like, you got like a 5-second clock, right? So let's say Philly, you start with a nickname for a player or staff or somebody, and then we're gonna go until one of you guys makes a mistake, and we'll see which one gets stumped enough that they can't think of one.
Yikes.
Stinger.
So I'm supposed to answer that? Is that how this works?
Yeah. The three of you. Are you gonna go?
Yeah.
What's that?
Stinson.
No.
Oh, we just have to keep naming them until somebody can't think of another one. I think
there
is what
you
it
go.
is.
Yeah.
Oh.
Stinger. You say something else. Some other nickname.
Johnny Thunder.
Perfect.
I'm going to go with my favorite nickname of all time, and that is the Rapunzelian Goal Repellent.
I thought you were going to take my favorite one, Taco Masters.
Well, I'm going to steal one from you, Doctor, because we're in the presence of him. The Iberian Brick House.
It's perfect. That's perfect. I'll go AP3, Adrian Perez.
The king himself.
La Roca, Hugo Puentes.
Flaquito, Brian Macias.
Gosh. Hold on. The Boom Booms.
Is that a thing?
St. Louis Ambush.
Oh, okay.
No, that is incorrect, Panda.
What's it
Who
called?
are the Boom Booms? Who are the Boom Booms?
Boom.
Come on.
The Blast.
The Blast. Oh, I
Oh,
think that's our first fail.
Well, no,
Sorry.
I didn't have to know what it was.
I got a red X to you.
Wasn't
Keep
supposed
going.
to know.
Keep going.
Keep going.
Keep going.
The Pareja, Jorge Rios.
The Perritos, Los Perritos de Mexico, the Chihuahua Savage.
Oh no, that was my favorite one. What do they call this? The gym socks.
There you go.
Who?
The
The gym socks.
The
That's the
sockers.
Sockers.
Oh, got it.
Billy, you're on the clock. 5, 4, 3, 2.
Kid Dynamite, Gordy Gerson.
Oh,
Very good.
Right on
Very
time,
good.
right on time.
I'm going to go with my second favorite, the Bad Boys of Barbecue, Mesquite Outlaws.
Oh, that's right. Well, I'm going to go with Superman. Thank you, Allison.
Superman is Nestor. Is that Nestor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
There's one that's very pertinent to our two teams right now, Philly, that you have not done.
So hold on. Technically,
No, don't buy time. Don't buy time.
No,
Come
answer.
On.
okay.
No.
I mean, Izzy, Israel Cisse, that's a nickname.
But I'll take Izzy. I'm going to go with the
Okay.
Iceman, Christoph.
Yeah.
Tweety Bird.
Tweety Bird.
Okay.
Kool-Aid.
What? Did you ever call it that on a?
Once.
He has called it Kool-Aid. That has happened. Missouri Meteors.
Philly.
The Shrubs, what the doctor lovingly refers to as the St. Louis Ambush.
The Juice Boxes, Florida Tropics.
Gosh, you guys are making this very hard. I mean, doctor. To make it easy.
Panda.
There you go. I was
Yeah.
waiting for someone.
Yeah, but come on. You go. Come on.
I'm buying
something out of the
time.
pocket.
Keep
I'm going to go with
stealing mine.
Momo. Mo NDI.
Sweet Pea, Pacheco.
You just,
Sweet Pea was right there. You had it the whole time. Yeah.
you just went right past me.
Oh, well, you were taking your time. I'm buying you time. This is me doing my husbandly duties.
No. Oh gosh, I can't even think of anybody else on her.
Allison, my nickname was the Iberian Brick House. That's the one they dropped earlier.
Yes, yeah, we did say that one. Gosh, try and think. I don't want to be the loser here. Can I pass? Do I get one pass?
Pass.
If you can think of one, say it.
Well, you got
Berto.
the Smurf. You didn't say the Smurfs.
Oh, but did we not? Oh, we said it so many times. I forgot.
What about Jamel?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Juice.
Juice.
Juice Cox. I need a list.
What
of
about
names.
the Revelation? Gabe Costa.
Yeah. Persona non grata in
You're gonna
Ontario.
change that. That's
26.
he's gonna have to have a new nickname now, though, right, guys?
What about Boy Bala?
Okay. Charlie
about-
Golasso.
Chargo.
Oh yeah, you did call him Chargo.
Allison says Philip Lund has to have a nickname.
Hmm.
He can't be the Danish Dynamite because that was Kim Runtved. No, that was the Danish Dynamo. Danish Dynamo. Sorry.
Yeah. That's
I'm gonna have to think of one for a new guy too. By the way,
The Danish Sausage. I don't know. Think of something.
he just
Mike Ande Abreu goes by Mike. I call that a nickname.
Oh, come on, you guys
That's
are getting lazy.
boring.
You're getting lazy. Yeah.
Machine Gun Uzi.
you called him that?
No.
There
I
you
just
go.
thought of it though.
I believe I called Drew Ruggles the Rugglefarian on a broadcast.
Oh.
So I'll go with Rugglefarian.
Cheese. Vandergriff.
That's his name. I couldn't think of what we called him. That's right. It is.
Batman is Adam West, by the way. Those are Tacoma Stars kicking.
Yep.
Bad
Yep.
Boy
Ortiz.
Bader. Bad Boy Bader. You said.
Little Big Poppy.
Little Big Poppy.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Little Big Bob. David Ortiz.
Oh, Little Big Poppy. Got it. So
Oh,
the person that was doing this about the nicknames is gotta be just flat on their ass drunk at this point, because that was, I don't know, 25.
they probably missed the last 5 easily because
Yeah, they're
done.
face down at this point. We had
Yes.
IB26 in there. Pete Richmond I threw in.
How did I forget
Uh,
about
G-
IB26?
Yeah, that was
Man, that was
IB
dumb. Man, sorry, we're slacking.
Yeah.
Coffee's wearing off.
Okay. Well, it's 5:53. Really quick. Before I let you guys talk about your new hiring, I want to say really quickly how awesome it was that you guys had the Jet immortalized on the bench. We obviously had the Kyrells and their family with us at our games. We love that we get to see them both when we play Empire in Tacoma and when we go down to Empire. And obviously forever in our thoughts, and that family in particular. Having Artie on staff with you guys, as well as immortalizing that moment, was super cool. So obviously tributary moments for there. Really cool that you guys continue to talk about it. We do too. And I think it's really important that we celebrate that moment, celebrate that heritage in that time. But there, Allison's right. One of the best nicknames ever, the Jet Kyrell.
Yep.
And a celebration that still lives to this day with some of the players. I don't know if you guys saw. Corey Keats did it.
the All-Star game. First goal.
All-Star game. Yeah, it was an awesome moment. And I don't know if you guys have ever actually seen those jerseys, but it's got a big 91 Jet on the arm.
Yeah, I bid on one. I won Charlie's that year.
Man, the soccer love.
Where did that go?
He was part of the Fury then. Thank you very much.
Where did that go? Have you kept that?
Yeah, it's in the closet somewhere.
With all the rest of your soccer's paraphernalia?
Yeah, mate. Yellow card to the host.
He's a closet soccer fan.
No.
Here's your blue card. Hold that.
No.
Well, really quick.
It even says Sockers.
Where do you think we got them? Where did you get yours? I'm putting them this way and that way and this way for a reason.
I just called him out. Sorry.
It's
busted.
It's soccer's that blue card. The other team only gets those blue cards. It never goes the Soccer's way. So you've got plenty coming towards Empire. But I don't want to get too much in trouble there. Any words about your new coach, new hire, just dropped last week, P3? By the way, there's your nickname, P3. I don't know if you guys knew that his nickname was P3, but he was old school legend. He actually was on the team for the San Diego Sockers when I first started playing indoor soccer. Took me under his wing for a little bit. Him and Aaron Susi, who both are legends of the game, and they're really, really good dudes. So anything to say about the new hire?
I mean, obviously, we don't know him as well as all of you do, being that we came into the league a little later. But I did run into Mark Rogandino, who obviously is a big name in the indoor world when it comes to broadcasting, who's now with the MLS. But I ran into him, and he stopped me, and he's like, "Hey, congrats on your new hiring. You're gonna love this guy," and just kind of proceeded to let me know like what a really good guy he is, and what a great player he was. And he said, "You're really gonna enjoy him. He's gonna be like all business on the field, but he won't be afraid to go after the game and have a drink with everybody and just chat about things." So I'm really excited to meet him. I think that's going to happen soon, hopefully. And yeah, I mean, it's exciting. I mean, changes are always hard, but when things need to be adjusted, it's nice to see them going in a positive direction. And yeah, I'm excited to get the season started and see how it all goes.
I second that. I mean, the fact that he's played the game, played it at a high level, the fact that he has his number retired down at our arch rival's domain, it kind of makes me smile a little bit considering the fact that they took our revelation. No, it's going to be good. A guy who commands respect. 4 years with the Kansas City Wizards in Major League Soccer. That's kind of cool. I mean, he was, a consultant with the Baltimore Ravens as well. He knows his stuff. And very much looking forward to working with him. We've just messaged each other via social media, but I'm certainly looking forward to getting to know him on that perspective. And honestly, I'm looking forward to seeing how Jimmy does in the position of just focusing purely as being a GM. As you know, he had the dual role, which at times would be difficult. Now he gets to focus on the business end, and we get to have Paul, who, I mean, compared to Jimmy, has obviously more experience playing indoor. I think it's a blessing, and I'm certainly looking forward to how he could turn the ship around.
Yeah, same as Philly. We've had a few conversations, brief ones via social media, just welcoming him to the team, excited to see him get to work. I think all three of us had a really great relationship with our coaching staff last season, whether it was Keeks Tovar, whether it was Artie Kyrell, whether it was Chewy Molina, and so whatever our coaching staff ends up becoming this season, I hope we can collaborate and be, as friendly as we were in seasons past. So I'm really looking forward to getting a chance to meet the man officially. But the pedigree that he brings, the experience and the respect he's going to command in the locker room for having gone out and put those shifts in on the turf is something really excited to see how he works with a lot of the young players around both, the Strikers and the Jets to see exactly what we can put together come next season and hopefully not have the season, at least the fourth quarter of the season, go the same way it has the last couple of years.
Well, enough about Empire. Let's talk about the Stars. We've added 3 players to our roster, 2 of which happen to play for you guys in previous
Oh, we
years.
know.
Yeah, we're a little bitter about that.
The 3rd player will be announced on July 29th that we've signed. We're really excited about it. Obviously, Chris Toth coming in, Willie Spur coming in, both who had played for us previously, but both coming back. We're excited about that. And obviously, July 29th at 2 p.m., we'll have a fan fest. We'll be announcing our 3rd signing, which will go live the following Monday for the rest of the people that didn't show up at the fan fest. So if you show up, you get to hear about it. If you didn't, you don't get to hear about it until the Monday. And we're pretty excited. And we've been really trying to make a concerted effort to not go dormant in the offseason, which I think is a really big challenge for all indoor teams, is like, how do you keep content going during the offseason? How do you keep things ramped up so that they're positive, so that when season comes up, there's still that momentum, that buzz. It doesn't feel like a big drop-off from season to season. So that's it. It's 6 o'clock on the dot. You get to go watch the U.S. Women's National Team. Thank you guys so much for coming on. This was awesome.
You're fine.
I just wanted to wish Chris Toth all the best. I'm going to miss our after game Eureka buddy and obviously our travel partner during going to Mexico. I'm happy that he's happy, but obviously, Chris, if you hear this, nothing but love for you, my man. And we're going to miss you in Ontario. That's for sure.
Amen. I couldn't second those thoughts more. And, same with Willie Spur as well, too, to be able to see him get back from injury. That was a gruesome injury he had while Philly and I were on the call. And, there was a time when speculation said he might not ever get a chance, as we have a surprise guest on the show. Say hi, Zegan. There was a talk that he might not be able to come back, and the fact that he's found his way back and with the Taco Masters is a great thing. So I hope he has a fantastic season as well, too. Same with Toth, just maybe not when y'all come down to the Empire.
Yeah.
I'll let him know. We'll be sure to let them both know. But I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys giving the time. Awesome to have you on the show and chat. Wasn't too painful. I think I was pretty nice. It wasn't too bad. Thank you guys for being fun and being fair sports with it all. And if you guys want to come back, we're gonna have a commentator roundup. We're gonna do one with Randy, and we'll get obviously our on air talent to come together, and we'll do a big commentators mishmash and put you guys all on one, and then do some really embarrassing games, make you pronounce names that you don't know how to pronounce, stuff like that.
Sweet. The mics of the round table. I'm all ready. Let's do it.
There we go. There's another shot. Thanks so much for your time, guys. July 29th, 2 p.m. at the Soccer Center. Be there. Thank you guys for tuning in. We love you. Go Stars.
Vamos Strikers.